It is time for another edition of the latest news to keep you in the groove with Maya. Maya, how you doing today, girl?
Okay.
Oh my gosh, who do we have with us on FaceTime?
East Love.
East Love, we have been East Love. How are you guys doing?
We are so good. And we're in, for those who can't see us, we are in a because we have red light.
Okay, so you got to tell us that one more time because you totally just cut out everything you said.
Okay, and we're hearing a bit of an echo on that end. Is there any way to lower the volume on your
Can you
end?
lower our echo, Micah? He's working on it. He's the technical guy. I just do the
Okay, cool.
talking.
Okay, so this is what I said. For those who can't see us, which is presumably everyone except for Maya, we are sitting in a red lighted room because red is Maya's favorite color. Listeners, now you know. You're welcome.
Boom. How cool is that? Maya,
Yeah.
take it away. What do you want to ask these guys?
So, who or what inspired you to become musicians?
That's a good question. I would say it wasn't necessarily a who for me, but more so just a general love for music. I grew up in a house where music was everywhere, but partially my dad, he was radio DJ. Funny enough, had a record collection when I grew up playing music, so I always kind of wanted to. And once we got a little older and started playing in middle school, actually, Lucas and I started playing together in middle school. The rest is history.
And I'm not sure if you guys are we cutting out at all? Or?
A little.
Okay, I think if we speak more slowly, it might be better. So I'm going to try.
What's tricky is that I have my headphones on and we're super loud and you're super quiet.
Are we quiet? Well, I've been known to project, so don't worry.
There you go. That's better.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
So for you listeners out there, you may not know an old TV show called The Partridge Family. And my family was somewhat like that when I was growing up because we would be in the car, in our van, as me and my two older sisters, sort of just driving down the street. And, we would, I think I see headphones in the mix. We'd be driving down the streets and we'd be singing songs and harmonizing. So music has always been a part of my my life, and I just enjoyed doing it. And I think whether I was in a band or not, I would be doing it in some capacity or another.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Agreed.
That's cool. It's always fun to jam in. Oh, I just blew Maya out with her earphones. Did you see that? That was my really big mouth right into Maya's ears. She was like, whoa. I'll step back from the microphone.
Yeah, we're getting some sound balance issues. We're gonna probably have to continue to lower the volume and then raise it again on our end. There is a really strong echo, so it's a bit distracting to try to talk hearing yourself a second later.
Yeah, we actually have all of our speakers off here inside the studio.
So we're not exactly sure what's going on.
Who knows? The content is so good that it must be heard by all, including us.
That's true.
It is good content. Maya, do you have another question for these guys?
So how did you all meet and how did you become a band?
Lucas, why don't you take this one?
I would love to take that one, Robbie. Appreciate it. So me and Robbie, we grew up together. We met. I believe it is fabled that we met at some point in our elementary school years at a daytime summer camp, and then we officially met in middle school, where everyone in our town, everyone went to school together, and I believe we started playing music together in early middle school, and our earliest shows were at a rehabilitation center, which was so fun, playing for people who really loved to hear what we had to do. And it's sort of questionable how good we were, but we felt good about it. And so that's all that really mattered for us.
Yeah, and just to build on that a bit, we all, Alex, who's not here right now, but maybe popping in at some point in the next 10 or 15 minutes, he's a little late to practice. We all kind of joined up in high school and we started taking it a little more seriously. We actually recorded our first songs in high school with Lucas's cousin, who's now a professional music producer out in Los Angeles. And, you know, I mean, I'm not going to go through the full history, but time went on. We went to different colleges. We all came back to New York. And after, you know, a couple years here, we started taking it much more seriously. And now we've been doing it for a while, you know, recorded about, I think it's like 14 songs, 15 songs that we have out there in the world. And we continue to write and, you know, do as much as we can with it.
Cool.
I'm going to raise the volume again now so we can hear you.
So how did you come up with the name East Love?
That's a good question. Let me lower the volume again. So, you know, if you need to say something or if you want to interrupt us, just go ahead and like raise your hand so I can raise the volume so we can hear you. Otherwise, we need to keep the volume down to keep the echo down. Cool.
Okay.
So, Lucas and I used to live together in an apartment in the East Village. We're all, at the East Village of Manhattan in New York City, where we live. We're also all from the East Coast. And Alex, who is the other member of the band who's not here right now, he actually now lives in our old apartment building in that same neighborhood. And there's an element to it which is a little more surface level, which was just, you know, we're all East Coasters. We all lived in the East Village. It felt like a big part of who we are. But on a bit more of a deeper level, we actually had a really good friend who passed away about 5 or 6 years ago. And Lucas and him were roommates in an apartment on East 13th Street. And that was really, I think we think of that as sort of the birthplace of what is now East Love. He loved music. He loved to go with us to concerts. And he was very encouraging and always pushed us to take music a little more seriously. So when we started thinking of a name, you know, for all those reasons together, the idea of East really felt like a unifying factor. And the love part of it was, you know, nothing in particular, not necessarily about anything romantic or lovey-dovey, but more so just the vibe we were trying to create. We wanted to make people feel good. And it just sort of felt right. And we threw out a lot of ideas, but that's what ultimately stuck.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry about your friend.
Oh, thank you.
You know what's interesting is that loss is always so sad. There's no question about it. However, what's more important than that is what you do with it. And for us, you know, we've got a bunch of friends that we grew up with. You know, obviously me and Robbie and Alex, another guy in the band. We grew up together, and we've got about 20 other people that are a part of this group of friends. And of course, when something sad happens, there are things you can control and things you can't control. And so what you want to do is you want to capitalize on the things you can control. And what we've chosen to do with it is pursue our passion of music, stay really close with all those friends around us, which is so important because, you know, maximizing what you have and what you can control is arguably the most important thing that you can do.
Well said. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So if you weren't musicians, what do you think you would be doing?
Well, it's interesting you say that. You guys may not know, but we actually, I mean, while we are musicians, we also do other things as well. I'm currently a business school student. Music is, just to take a step back, music has always been really important to us, but we've always balanced it alongside other passions and career paths. Like Alex, who's not here, is a videographer and he works on documentaries and TV shows. Like I said, I'm in business school right now and I'm actually trying to work in the music industry, you know, potentially on the streaming side of the business or on the music label side of the business as well. And Lucas, I'll let him give more detail, but he works in technology.
Yeah, I'm a technology sales manager, so it's not exactly the same thing as a musician, but you do learn to communicate through certain avenues, and I think the key really is being passionate about anything, no matter what it is, really putting your whole self into it so that you can feel good about it.
Yeah, so we're maybe not the answer you expected, but we have for the past 6, 7 years, whatever it is now, have continued to balance music with other projects, jobs, passions, etc.
And with that said, I would love to be an astronaut, so that works, you know.
Cool. Um, so is there a musician you hope to collaborate with?
Yeah, really. There are. I mean, here's the thing. Growing up, or not growing up. Sorry, living in New York. There's a lot of musicians locally who we know personally and who we love their music. We love them as people. And I'll give a few different answers to this question. One is I would love to continue to work with those people and potentially write with them, record songs with them, and whatnot. There's some that I would recommend anyone listening check out. Haley Knox, John Splithoff, Harriet Manice, Evangelia. You guys may have heard of AJR. We've hung out with them in the past and would love to collaborate with them. So that's kind of one side of things. Another thing I'll mention is in this new world through the internet, everything's so connected and you can very easily work with people who are on the other side of the world. And with that in mind, we actually recently connected with an electronic music label in the Netherlands, and we're working with some of their DJs to create some collaborated tracks. They're also remixing a couple of our songs, so that could be a cool way to reach a new audience. And then here, I'll let Lucas speak to maybe some more famous artists who he thinks it would be fun to collaborate with.
Yes, so famous artists. I mean, I love John Mayer. I think there's in so many different ways. Even if not to collaborate with him, just love to hang out with him. Seems like a really cool guy. I think there's a lot of other artists that I'd love to collaborate with. It'd be really cool to collaborate with like a Paul McCartney. That would be pretty awesome.
Wow.
Robbie says wow. I'm trying to think. Maybe some more old school acts that I haven't really thought of it.
I think the answer is that we like to make music, so anyone whose music we also like, it would be fun to do something together.
We recently saw James Bay, who was amazing. Love to work with that guy.
Yeah, these are sort of the more pipe dream type artists.
Cool. Yeah, so I love your song "Cute but Psycho." And so I was wondering what your inspiration for that was.
It's funny. Hold on. Sorry, I need to lower the volume again. So I'm going to answer that I'll give you a little bit of specifics, but also I think the more interesting answer is kind of more on the topic of how we write songs in general. I mean, that particular song was an idea that came to my mind personally, based on a girl who I had been seeing a little bit of. It was very off and on over a long period of time. It was very confusing for me. And while a lot of the specifics in the song were certainly exaggerated for the sake of the song, like, for example, she was not banging on my door and crying, "I did not call 911." But there was a lot of drama involved. This sort of leads into my larger point about songwriting, which is when we write, it usually comes from a certain experience that one person has, but then we like to sit down in a room all together and, kind of develop the idea, use our imagination a bit. Everyone brings in their own personal experience as a way of kind of coloring the song in different ways. So at the end of the day, the songs we wind up with aren't necessarily, sometimes they can be, but usually they're not a hyper-personal story about one person's experience, but rather, there's a kernel of truth that winds up being developed and expanded upon to create something that is really about an idea that we think people, in one way or another, can relate to, if that makes sense. And by the way, you're frozen. I don't know if there's a way to fix that. If not, no worries, because we can still hear you, but just thought I'd let you know.
She hasn't moved in a while, huh? We have no idea.
Yeah.
Crazy enough, you guys win the prize, as we've never had this many issues with volume or picture.
Yeah.
Well, what I will tell you is that the frozen image is lovely. It's a really good position for you.
Agreed.
Thank you.
And hey, it's not about the problems you have, but about how you deal with those problems, and we are killing it.
Ooh,
You totally are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you guys are included in that we, just to be clear.
Yes.
So, do you have a favorite song of yours?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, as my parents always told me and my sisters, they don't have a favorite, nor do I, but I do have ones that I like a lot. So I really like the one we just released, which is Shades of You. We actually released that last Wednesday.
Wait, do you mean a favorite song of ours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just clarifying before we started talking about ourselves for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I thought that was that. But so we released a song last Thursday called "Shades of You" that I really love. It's got a really nice vibe to it, and it's unique to our songs, and I like it a lot. I think maybe my favorite of our newer songs is "Walk Outside." It's got a lot of grit to it and a lot of depth to it, and again, if you've heard our 15, it's crazy that we have 15 songs out, but if you've heard our 15 songs, there's such a range of them. I think Walk Outside is truly the biggest ode to rock music that we have. And it's just really, it hits you. And it's sort of an epic, sort of anthemic song, which I love.
Yeah, I'll give my quick perspective. I think that, well, first of all, I agree with Lucas. There's obviously, you can give an answer to this question, but at the end of the day, your favorite kind of changes with time, and you have a different relationship with each song. I would kind of break it down into what we did before and then what we're doing now, because I think there has been a pretty meaningful kind of difference in approach to at least the way that we're producing these songs. From our first set of songs over the past few years, I would say our song Straight Lines, just all around, I can always go back and listen to that and feel like no matter, it wasn't necessarily the most expertly recorded and produced. It was, a long time ago, but the song itself still stands up as really sounding, and I think lyrically and melodically and kind of from all perspectives being one of our strongest. I'll say just because I'll be selfish for a second, because this is the one song that I was the main lead singer on, a Rolling Stone, which we actually wrote in Los Angeles with Lucas's cousin last year. I feel really good about that one, and it's also the song that happens to be getting remixed. So I think it will, soon it will get a new life and hopefully reach a lot more people as well. So I'll say that one from our newest set of songs.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, do you ever get anxious before a performance?
I think that is exactly the phrasing that you have there is perfect, because people typically ask, "Do you get nervous?" And I don't get nervous, and I know that's not what you asked, but I'm going to go there. I don't get nervous because ultimately, when it comes to showtime, we've rehearsed so many times that we know exactly what we're going to do. But anxious, absolutely, because you're waiting there and you're trying to figure out, how to fill your time while you're waiting to get on stage. And so anxious, absolutely. Nervous, not so much.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that there's definitely a weird blend of excitement and, I physically, like, before we go on stage, I can feel my nerves in the sense that, I don't know, there's like a weird tingling in my arms, and I'm just, it's excitement, but it's also nervousness and anxiety. But, it's just something that with time, once you do it more, the negative feelings become less and less, and the positive ones become more and more noticeable. So to anyone out there who is an aspiring performer, It's just something that you deal with at first. Everyone's different, but you feel a certain way, and there's always going to be some sort of anticipation for getting on stage, but over time it gets more and more comfortable, I'd say.
Cool. Do you have a pre-show ritual to get you ready for your shows?
Well, yes, we do, actually. Each of us individually will practice our parts on our own, whether it be guitar, whether we're playing a stripped-down version of a song with the harmonies and all that stuff. But when it comes to right before showtime, we will do a little mini circle, a little mini powwow, and we'll basically just talk through, in obviously an enthusiastic way, we'll talk through how amazing and unique the opportunity we're about to have is. And specifically, it's talking about the fact that we're about to be on stage in front of anywhere from 50 to 200 to, depending on the venue, even more people that want to see us, that have come there specifically to see us. And that is such a privilege and such a unique opportunity that we get, that the pre-show ritual is acknowledging that and making sure that because of that fact, when we go out there, we leave it all out on the stage and we give 110%.
He's not going to say it, but when we get in this little huddle, Lucas is 100% of the time the one to give this really passionate speech about all those things he just mentioned. And I have to say, as a recipient of many of those speeches, it really does get everyone in the right mindset, gets me fired up, feeling like I'm ready to go out there and do what we've practiced for so long to do, Cool. I think that bell you just heard is the third member showing up, so
Oh, nice.
You're gonna get a little more East love in your life.
So should I wait?
No, keep going.
Okay.
No, keep going.
So is there somewhere you hope to perform?
That's a good question. I mean, there's honestly we've gotten this question before. There are so many places where I would love to perform, but to give an answer that comes to mind more recently, the Beacon Theater in New York is just one of my favorite venues. It's an incredible room. It's the ceiling and the art and the decoration is beautiful. The sound, I think one thing that is really, really important when you perform, or whether you attend or perform, is the quality of the sound in the room. And this room just sounds incredible. It's a sound combination of the sound system, the acoustics, the fact that everybody goes there, I think, to be really attentive and really pay attention, as opposed to like a louder bar or something. I don't know if can you still see us, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is Alex. Say hi, Alex.
Hello.
Hi.
Sorry I'm late.
That's
It's
okay.
all good.
Hey.
No
Is
worries.
Maya still frozen?
We miss you. So yeah, that's my answer. Lucas, I don't know if you want to add
Yeah, I can give a little answer. There is an awesome outdoor stage in Colorado called Red Rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And it is exactly as it sounds. It's literally red rocks. And it's stadium seating, really amazing. And the interesting thing is the way I'm describing it, you'd think, oh, Lucas has been to Red Rocks hundreds of times, yet Lucas has been to Red Rocks zeros of times, but I've seen many a photo, and I really want to go, and I would love to play there too.
Zeros, multiple zeros.
Yes.
Well, we have been to Red Rocks multiple times, and
Oh yeah?
well, yeah, because it's right here
Very
next to us in Denver. So,
Little did he know how appropriate of an answer this was.
yeah. So, Maya's next question, I'm just going to steal for her, and I'm going to say, when you come to Denver, play Red Rocks, come by Seacrest Studios. Do you have any plans for that soon?
I don't think we do have plans to do that.
Not yet.
We don't, but we should make them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what is your songwriting process like?
Hey, Alex, why don't you go ahead?
Hi.
Hi.
Again,
We're gonna give Alex a chance to talk.
Hi.
Hi.
Again, I'm sorry I'm late. I was running through the frigid New York air to get here. So our songwriting process, it has happened in all ways, shapes, and forms. But inspiration is really like unpredictable. So it can happen with anybody at any time. Usually when we all get in a room and we're like, let's write a song, it can be painful and take days to come up with something. But so sometimes, like, if I'm riding my bike, I'll think of a melody or something. I'll be like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then if we have practice that night, we'll sing it to each other and we'll say, oh, that could be a song. And that happens with all of us individually, you know, whenever one person's showering and has an amazing idea, or someone's at work and thinks of something.
Yeah, I think one thing to add to that, and actually sort of to build on that, is I think a point that Alex is making is that it's sometimes hard to force songwriting when you sit down and say, we're going to write a song now. We've learned, at least, that more often than not, you have trouble with that, as opposed to just waiting for the inspiration to strike. But once the inspiration does strike, and I kind of mentioned this before, we tend to all sit down and really hash out once there's an idea, we kind of try to get everything down on paper, all the things that come to mind, any imagery, any specific words, or any ideas, or what perspective we want the song to be from, etc. And then from there, once there's something that we feel excited about, sometimes it can just flow from there, and we all are kind of contributing ideas and whatnot. Other times we kind of purposely separate ourselves into different rooms, and it's easier to have some peace and quiet and think by yourself without having to feel like everything you say is being judged or being analyzed by someone else. So it kind of varies based on the song, but that's at least a preview into the process.
Cool. So is there a certain line from a song that has always stuck with you or inspires you?
Anyone?
A certain line.
You mean from one of our songs?
Any song.
From any song?
Oh, that is
yes. I have one. Lucas mentioned John Mayer before, and one of my favorite songs of his is called "Stop This Train," which I'm not sure if you know, but it's a really beautiful song, both from a instrumentation and melody, but also particularly from a lyrical standpoint. And there's a line in that song that says, I need to like think of the song to get it in my head for a second. He says, so scared of getting older, I'm only good at being young. So I play the numbers game to find a way to say that life has just begun. And that line really sticks with me for a lot of reasons. One, because I just think it's so well said. It's so interesting, and just a sort of way to say something that everyone thinks about, I think, but no one really talks about, which is as you get older and, you kind of move on to different phases of life, so to speak, I think everyone still wants to feel young at heart. And really the idea that he's talking to is kind of the way that people paint the world around them and choose to take certain perspectives that create the version of the world and the version of themselves that they're the most happy about. You know what I mean? And for him, obviously he's I think it's something that is written about a lot in songs. There's this idea of getting older. Like, there's songs like 100 Years where, it goes through the life of a person and kind of the different things that happen at different stages of life. I think it's a pretty common thing for people to want to kind of hash out in a song. And just the way that he says it, to me, it always really stuck with me because I found it really interesting and powerful. Anyone else have any lines that they think of or no?
I have there's a song by an artist called Taylor Barrett, and he actually doesn't do music anymore, oddly enough. But
he lives in Colorado now.
Does he? I think he's an author now, and he
moved to Colorado. I think.
Did he? Well, he's amazing. He's so incredibly talented. Such a great songwriter. It's the line.
The broken glass.
Yeah, it is. The line is, It says there was a man. This is the line. The lyrics aren't right here. It says there's a man.
It says
who wasn't.
It's who was an artist.
Yeah, who was an artist. He lost the only love he had. They told him, "Pain will take you farther. There is art in broken glass," and the concept of that is so incredibly descriptive yet identifiable, and it's just honestly, even talking about it right now it's almost overwhelming how beautiful and incredible that line is. It's basically, to put it very simply, it's, while pain and loss is so terrible, the narrative it allows you to describe is so intricate and interesting and uniquely yours. However, it can be seen by so many people and identified as beautiful in its own interesting way.
Love that line. Do you have a line?
Yeah. I guess I would probably go with, "Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy. But here's my number, so call me maybe." That one stuck with me for a while.
I mean, don't you
And I
think?
think it's stuck with a lot of people. So
Don't you
some
think she should have
lines-
said "call me
some
for
lines
sure"?
just capture the masses.
Anyway, yeah, I think while Steen, I think, is really a hilarious guy, and I'm really glad that we've brought his humor into this. I think those are some things that come to mind. There's also, I mean, I don't know if you want to go into it more, but there's a few of our own lines that I think, of all the songs we've written, have really stuck with me personally. I'll just quickly rattle off a couple of them that come to mind. In the songs, it's actually not the chorus, but in the song Straight Lines I mentioned, which was my favorite of our earlier batch, there's a line that says, we happen to be 25 years old at the time, we're a little older now, but the line said, "25 years is too much time. The city is too noisy, the country is too quiet. Why am I moving in circles when I'm looking for straight lines?" And the whole song was kind of about this restlessness of feeling like, you're sort of moving in place and you're stuck when you want to be making progress and going somewhere. And I think that's also something that people struggle with a lot. And to me, like the idea of, you live in the city, it's like this hustle bustle, loud environment, and then you think you want to go out to the country and kind of isolate yourself, but when you get there, it's too quiet, it's lonely, you miss the activity. So in the end, you're kind of stuck somewhere in the middle. And actually, this is an idea that we also talked about in our newer song, Walk Outside, that Lucas mentioned, where the chorus says, "Turn out these lights, it's too damn bright, I need the moon tonight, so let me walk outside." I'm not going to go through this full song, but there's some lines in that song that also speak to that same idea that we've living in the city, but also being outdoors people, who like to connect with nature a bit more as well, kind of have grappled with over time.
Cool. Yeah, I think for me there are like a bunch of lines that have always stuck with me, and
I would love to hear them.
So there's two that have really stuck with me. There's this one song by Brandon Michael Hall called "So We Did," which is one of my favorite songs, and he says, "They told me that I couldn't, so I did." And then there's also this song called "Legendary," which is by a bunch of Disney Channel actresses, and one of the lines is, "Make history into her story."
So I like that.
Yeah, so those are two that have definitely stuck with me.
Love that. What's the Brandon Michael Hall song called?
"So We Did."
So We Did. All right, cool. We're gonna check that out after we get off the FaceTime with you.
Cool. Cool. So, if you could meet any fictional or animated character, who would it be and why?
This is the genie from Aladdin for sure.
Wow.
Who is more fun than the genie?
You ain't never had a friend like him.
I think it would be Actually, I'm gonna have Lucas. I'm gonna think a little more on that, Lucas.
Oh, he's gonna think more and give it to Lucas. That's helpful for Lucas. I think Lucas. Well, I'm gonna just say that I really. You got one, Bob?
No.
Okay. I don't have the answer right now because I feel like my answer would be more thought out than this. But I'm just gonna go with. I always wanted to be, when I was younger, I always wanted to be Spider-Man. Like, I had dreams about it all the time. So I'll take Spider-Man.
I'm going to say, you ever watch The Fairly Odd Parents?
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites growing up. I feel like Cosmo is kind of a weirdo. I would really like to hang out with him. I also sometimes, actually, no, this was a different show, but I always was told that I had Jimmy Neutron hair. So maybe
Do have
we can
Jimmy Neutron
compare
hair.
dues.
You totally have Jimmy
That's
Neutron
awesome.
hair.
Cool.
What about you?
Mal from Descendants.
Do you know what that is?
I don't know, but it sounds fantastic.
We're gonna have to look
Mal
up
is the
Mal from
daughter of
Descendants.
who?
Maleficent.
Maleficent, the daughter of Maleficent.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Rob, you mentioned the Jimmy Neutron, and it reminded me of the Jimmy Neutron movie, which was underratedly one of my favorite animated movies of all time.
Nice.
Cool.
I didn't see it, but
The Jimmy Neutron movie is amazing. And I just wanted to add that before we moved on to anything else.
That is important to note. Thank you.
Yeah. What is your biggest pet peeve?
Ooh.
Each other!
when people are late to practice.
Oh yeah, when people are late to interviews. One of my biggest pet peeves, it's like really loud, sustained noises, and like not good noises. Like for example, if I'm on the street and someone's laying on their horn, it's just got a direct path to my annoyance nerve, just my nerves. I guess it'd be my nerves. It just gets on them, right on them. Really don't like that at all.
And just to build upon what Lucas just said, in New York, it's like people just treat the horn like they're saying like anything to anyone else. Like people will honk their horn for no reason at like the drop of a pin. And I live on the second floor of a building, and I've gotten so annoyed by it that occasionally I've had to be stopped from taking an egg and opening the window and just tossing it right up on the windshield.
Alex.
Speaking of throwing things outside, one thing that came to mind for me is when people litter. I mean, I would approve the egg use, so don't worry. But I saw someone the other day pick up, after their dog. I won't elaborate more on that.
We got it.
And they used a bag, which is great. Sometimes people don't do that at all, which is unfortunate. But they picked it up in a bag and then they tossed it at a garbage can, completely missed, and then just kept walking. I kind of wanted to say something, but I sort of chickened out, which is unfortunate. Maybe next time I won't. But I'm the type of person who, if I, even if I'm throwing away a tiny piece of paper or something, if I miss the garbage can, I'll always feel a deep compulsion to pick it up and make sure I don't litter. So when other people don't do that, it definitely gets on my nerves.
Yeah.
Even though New York City is not exactly the most pristine of locations to begin with, it's still important to pick up after yourself,
Not wrong.
Yeah.
Respect
Rob,
nature.
Can I tell you something that's going to make you really proud of me?
Yeah, sure, man.
So I have a little dog, and when I'm picking up after him with the bag, occasionally I will also grab a couple of pieces of litter around it.
Love that.
Wow.
Nicely done.
And throw it out just to pick up those couple of extra pieces.
Yeah. Alex is what we call an overachiever. Okay? And he's wearing a suit to show us.
He looks great though.
He does look
Is that
good.
Seiki?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. We did a partnership with this suit company, and he's wearing the suit, and he looks great.
He looks fantastic.
Guys. Only for you.
Anything else you got for us?
Yeah, I have 3 more questions for you.
All right.
So, if you could have any song playing to announce your entrance into a room, what song would it be?
Wow. Mine would be, at least based on my current mindset, there is a song, you know the band Kings of Leon?
Yeah.
So they obviously have some really famous songs. Not to be that guy, but I liked them way before that.
Oh, come on.
And actually, funny enough, this is a newer song, but I have liked them since my college days. But there is a song called Family Tree that it just makes you want to groove. It's got a really strong bass line and a good beat, and kind of when I hear it, I feel like I can walk into a room and just be really cool. So that's my answer.
I have an answer that's a bit obscure, but there is a or I imagine some of the listeners might know the song by Led Zeppelin called "Stairway to Heaven." There is a DJ, I don't know if it's DJ, whatever, named Grammatic. And this DJ, a long time ago at this point, I don't know how long ago, years ago, created a remix to Stairway to Heaven. And that is what I would like to...
I thought he was going to say Bad Mama Jamma.
Listen, I've been known as that before.
Okay, I'm not going to stop there.
So it's funny that you asked that question, because every time I go to a baseball game and I see people come out and like they got to pick their song when they step up to the plate, I'm super jealous. I think I would choose, even though it's not my favorite genre of music, just to walk out something. Like, I've always wanted to do that. I think this song Mi Gente by J Balvin, if you've ever heard it, it's it's like da 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 da.
I have no idea what he's saying.
No idea, but it sounds it's fantastic.
So
it sounds great.
Wow, you guys have been listening to too much acoustic rock.
Oh,
apparently.
come on, Alex.
Oh my God, we're pretty funny.
Come on.
No, we're not.
So, do you have a motto or quotation that you live by?
Wow, I wish we got these questions in advance. Could have really thought up some great answers. A motto or quotation.
Carpe diem, come on.
Let's see.
That's a good one. Carpe diem's a good one.
Yeah, it's I think I would say carpe diem, just trying to make the most of every moment. And I think we do that as a group. We love just like, going on a trip to write music or doing an interview with someone we've never met before. It's just like,
we're still here. I'm just looking up something. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I would say we're a very carpe diem group. We try to make the most of everything we're doing in the band and everything we do personally every day, and we support each other and taking chances, doing new things. So I think we're a carpe diem kind of.
Lucas,
kind of
do you have an answer? I'm looking for something.
Oh, Lucas, come on! This is a man of sayings. He lives by 30 quotes.
Here, I'll give him a few more seconds. I was looking, not to make this the John Mayer interview, but there was he actually at one point posted, this is less of a motto or saying, because I don't have the exact quote and more of an idea, but he posted at one point it was like a screenshot of his notes where he was talking about his ideas around music and songwriting, and something he said really stuck with me. It was something to the effect of, don't try to follow what other people are doing, but
stand proudly behind what you believe in, whether it be in terms of your ideals or your creative vision. And people, if they recognize the honesty in what you're doing, will line up behind you. So the idea of don't get in line, but create your own line. That maybe something like that. But again, I don't remember the exact words.
Yeah, I guess mine follows suit with that. It's just a general, non-original concept, but a general concept of, perception is reality, and people will eat what you feed them. And it's just so important to recognize that you have the ability to influence the way that people see you, and therefore people talk about confidence, people talk about owning each moment. Just if you can keep in the back of your mind that everything you're doing, if you believe in it, everyone around you will believe in it too.
Love that.
Cool. Yeah. So my last question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero and why?
Wow.
Other than the obvious ones, right?
Yeah.
The actual superhero.
I'm gonna say, so we're very big animal fans in this band. I don't know if you've seen, but we actually one time did a music video to a cover we did where we featured a lot of dogs, and a lot of those dogs were shelter dogs. So a part of the vision was to help get those dogs adopted, which they all did get adopted, by the way.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome.
Pat on the back to us. But I mean, I don't have a particular person, but I think the people out there, whether it's people you see in real life or whether you see in like these videos you see on social media and stuff, who really go out of their way to help animals and have sort of maybe sacrificed other potential more lucrative things they could have been doing with their lives for the sake of this particular subject. And by the way, this obviously doesn't have to be limited to animals, but I guess really just helping others in general. I wish I had like the one quintessential person who does this, and I don't. But that idea, the people who do that in general, to me, I think are real life superheroes.
Yeah, I think it's tough to. It seems a bit cliche to say the answer I'm going to say. However, I think cliche is that way because so many people say it, and so many people say it because it tends to be true. But I think first responders, for obvious reasons, firefighters, people who literally run into burning buildings, is just completely out of control. And then in a little less of an immediately dangerous occupation, I think teachers. Teachers are people who are not the most compensated people by any means, but they dedicate their entire lives to changing the lives of people who need direction, and it's just a sometimes thankless thing, at least in the short term. But it's something that is not lost on me.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with both of these guys. The one other thing I was going to say is there's a guy who I met on my block who's been down on his luck for a while, and he plays saxophone outside all the time. You always see him, and I've gone up to he goes out there. And he has a case out for a few bucks if you feel like giving it, but he really doesn't. I've spoken to him a dozen times, and he doesn't play for the money. He plays music because he wants people to feel good when they walk by, and it's beautiful, beautiful music. His name's Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty.
He just after 5 years of trying to scrape together the money of putting out an album, he put something out, and he's I would say a superhero to me. I mean, someone who's just willing to give their gift to the world and ask nothing in return. So that would be one, other than Superman and Spider-Man. Below that. Do you have one?
Cool. I think I would say my mom and my sister, and then my friend Jonathan. So
Good answer.
That's a good answer. Yeah, and for the record, in case any of our family members are listening, they are also ours.
All of our moms. All of our moms.
Dads.
You're saying besides your family,
In addition to
that those are your
Yeah.
real life superheroes.
We thought you said besides.
Oh, yeah,
your
I
family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
We did.
totally did.
Yeah, we did.
Well, thank you
Well,
guys.
we cleared that up.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. We've appreciated you spending so much time with us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Of course,
Thank you.
this was really fun. Thank
So
you guys.
fun.
Yeah. Thank you for calling in.
Of course, and everyone listening, have an awesome night, and we enjoyed spending time with you as well.
Well,
We'll
thanks.
listen to the next show. Can't wait.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Take care. Bye bye.
That's good. Bye.
All right. Good night.
Good night.